Well, hello, you gorgeous godly thing. Before we even go any further, we're just going to get the obvious out of the way. If I look like shit, it's because I've been sick for a week and I still kind of feel like poop. But my kids went back to school, so I wanted to come out and get some fresh air. It just happened to snow over the snow, but it's still very beautiful. None of that matters. If you do not know me, my name is Shara. Just Shara. Just a woman who is walking a path to the divine, to soul, to self, bigger self, not little ego, little Shara self, bigger, divine, creatrix, Shara self. And I share that path with you. And I don't know, maybe something I say will resonate with you and will spark something within you. I don't know. I just trust that this is where I'm called and this is what I'm meant to do. So here we are. This is Ramblin Woodwitch. So I was having a conversation with a beautiful soul friend that I met on this app. And we were talking about mental disorders. He said to me something along the lines of his anxiety limits him. He didn't say those words, but that was the gist of it. There are certain things that he can't do because he's anxious, and yeah, I relate. Just to get this out of the way, because this is going to be a sensitive one, probably going to trigger some people. I'm going to list off my diagnoses. I have anxiety disorder. I have been diagnosed with depression, postpartum depression, severe PTSD, and borderline personality disorder. So I have a laundry list, and I know how hard mental illness can be and how it affects our lives. I know for me personally, inwardly, and from what I have observed out in the world around me, around mental illnesses, is that we as people begin to identify with our mental illnesses so much that we kind of become them, right? They affect our everyday life, which they do. That's your brain, right? It's a mental illness. It's an illness in your brain chemistry and also your thought patterns. But I also know, and at this point have experienced, that we do not have to let these things define us. We are our souls, not our mental illnesses. And I mean, science has proved that our brains are constantly making new neural pathways. Now here's the thing, here's why it's not easy to retrain your brain, because when we operate under these thought patterns for so long, that neural pathway, it like creates a groove, right? Imagine that it gets deeper and deeper, and we can decide we're going to thought correct or do whatever it is we have to do to make these new neural pathways, but the old pathway is still going to be deeper. It's more deeply embedded within us, and what we need to do is continue to correct, to stop that deep groove, the thought that comes along with it in its path, and then switch to the new thought, like thought correction, and continue to dig in that new groove. That's why it's hard. That's why it takes a long time, because we're literally wired that way. We can rewire. And that's not to say that our mental illnesses will not affect us. It'll affect us differently. For me, I used to identify so much as my anxiety for number one and my BPD for number two. When I was talking to the third horseman and going through all of that, I had this chunk of time where my anxiety got so fucking loud. And really, what it wanted was to be seen and acknowledged, not pushed away or avoided or shamed. So I got super fucking present to it. And when it would roar, I would lean in, I would breathe into it in my body. For me, often it manifests in my stomach and my belly, my solar plexus, lower heart area, and it would feel like something was clawing from the inside. Now, our bodies hold our emotions, so I don't know, for me, when I first started feeling into my emotions, they weren't even emotions, they were literal pain in my body, but that's a whole nother story. So I got real present with it, and it took months. It took me months of doing this, of dedicating myself to doing this every time it came up, no matter who was around me, even if I could only go for a moment, stop, breathe in, see it, ask it what it wants. And now my anxiety does not scream like that. Do I still have anxiety? Yes. But it now is a guidepost for what is not in alignment. If I feel anxiety, it is because whatever situation is giving me that anxiety is not for me. And with my BPD, I really suffered with that one. I was such a splitter. And I'd split in ways that aren't even common with BPD or talked about with BPD. A lot of times when we talk about the split, we talk about having a favorite person up on a pedestal and then they are off the pedestal, or having really great upper high energy confidence one moment and then feeling like a piece of fucking dog shit the next. For me, this splitting manifested in everything, even down to my ability to make decisions. If there were two options in front of me and I like them both, I could never make a decision. And I know that's not technically a part of BPD, but it is. On a soul level, it is. It's the split. It's bigger than just one mental health diagnosis. It affected so many parts of my life. I don't even know, I don't even have another example to give you right now. We're just going to go ahead and move along. And now, well, at first, when I first started working with this and rewiring these grooves, right? It was an ability to step outside myself when the split was happening and witnessing the split, and then getting to the root of it. Why am I splitting? What wounding is here that is making me split? What is the underlying current of this split? What is the root, pretty much? But now, as things open and expand in my world, it is like not really so much a split anymore. If a split happens, I do what I just said, but it's a bigger view. It's not about the split anymore. It's the divine paradox. I split because I hold the capacity within me for both of the things to be true. So let's take a common BPD example. The split in your favorite person. You love them one moment, you hate them the next. Both of those things can be true. And for me, it's going to be different for everybody. It affected me so much because both of those things were true, and we are conditioned in a way where we do not know how to hold a paradox within ourselves. We're shamed for our paradoxical nature. So this war would happen within where I would be fighting. Well, which one is it? Which one is it? It was like a constant battle. Is this my favorite person? Or do I actually hate this person's fucking guts? When both were equally true and equally false. The Kabbalion states that every truth is half false, and beware of half-truths. And also extremes meet. So opposites join in the middle. There is actually no right and wrong or love or hate. They are the same vibration at different levels, different frequencies. So for me, my BPD splits were an inability to hold the paradox that is me, that is innate in my system. And as I expand and my view gets bigger and my perception widens, it no longer has to be one or the other. It is no longer either or. Now I can hold both and. So the splits are not as common anymore because I can hold both. There is a space within me for both. I'm not shaming myself for not being able to decide which is it. I believe, and I've been saying for a very long time, that our personality disorders, our mental disorders are actually spiritual gifts that have been repressed and shamed into a negative thought form. I know that might be hard for some people to wrap our minds around, but it is, I don't even know how to really explain this because it's so big, and maybe I don't have the complete perspective of it yet, and I need to deepen into it a little bit more than I have. But our mental disorders are spiritual gifts that have been shamed and repressed and manifest as negative thought forms. I will fucking fight for this and die on this hill. If you are somebody really big in the mental health community, but you're not spiritually tuned, spiritually aligned, and you don't understand, that's okay. Your work matters. Your work matters. And I will even go as far to say that there are more people who would understand you than there are who understand me. But I also know that there are people out there who need my messages. So I'm going to speak when I'm called, because these Ramblin' Wood Witches are me coming out to the woods, opening up to the divine and letting it flow out to you. This is not Ego Shara came to the woods with something I wanted to talk about. This is Ego Shara actually was going to go home and meditate with my hemlocks and decided to come here instead, opened a text message, read it, put my phone away, opened up to the divine, and this is what wanted to come through. it's a transmission. This needs to be heard on planet Earth right now. And I do not care about the pushback that I'll get or the ridicule, right? If the divine flows through me, I let it. And I don't care who understands, who doesn't understand, who cannot even begin to grasp it. If you don't get it, it's not your message, and that's okay. Maybe it'll be your message one day. But for now, trust where you are, just like I trust where I am. So many of us in this world suffer from some sort of mental illness, and it sucks. I know. I suffered through it. My postpartum depression was bad. Like, I thought I was going to kill myself. I did not want to be on this earth. I didn't think I was worthy enough to even raise my own kids, and it created this dynamic where I was just disassociated. Their physical needs were met, but their emotional needs were not. I did not have the attention to give to them. I could be sitting there playing with them, and I wasn't there. And that brings up so much fucking guilt, because they deserve better. Trust me, I know mental illness well. And when I started my spiritual journey, it was not for this purpose. I really had very little thought about mental illness on my spiritual journey, other than maybe that it was a block of some sort, or that I needed to look into that wounding, but very little else. This view has evolved from something that has naturally occurred inside of me without my consciousness on it. This wasn't something I tried to do. This was something that happened. And I realized the part about the paradox and the BPD split because of a meme. Like, a meme gave me this giant freaking aha moment about, like, oh my God, that is why I split, because I'm such a fucking paradox. And we are taught that being a paradox is not a good thing. Can't you fucking decide? I don't have to fucking decide, because two things can be true at once. Fuck you. Not you personally, society at large. The system that teaches us these things. But I look around now, and this conversation really sparked something within me that is really seeing how much we identify with our mental illnesses. We become them. We identify with them so much that we operate under them. We use them as excuses. Somebody told me, we'll say, well, I can't help that because I have BPD. I have abandonment issues. But what we don't do is go into those abandonment issues, go into the split, go into the BPD or the anxiety or whatever your mental illness is, and get to the root of it. That's what we're not doing. I guess some of us do it in therapy, but I don't know. I don't have real great views of therapy. I never had a good one. So I literally white-knuckled and clawed my way to my healing. But that's my way, and that's not for everybody. But I think that if you're a spiritual person who seeks therapy, you need a spiritually aligned therapist, because there are a lot of things that can hold true within you that would be shamed up or get you locked up in the psych ward in that world. But they're actually true. We are just living in a society that doesn't want us to know. So everything is built around disconnecting us from the self, making us think we're crazy when we really just have fucking spiritual gifts. And I'm not saying that some people aren't actually crazy. That's not what I'm saying. Just that I think more often than not, our mental illnesses are our spiritual gifting, repressed and shamed. I am getting repetitive, so we're going to wrap this up. If you have a mental illness that you've suffered under for any length of time, whether you just found out 2 days ago or you have spent 30 years with this diagnosis, you know you best. And if this conversation sparked something within you that is making you wonder if this planted a seed, follow that seed. Even if it doesn't lead you to anything like I have experienced, at least let it lead you into some kind of healing. That is what this is. It is a divine transmission meant to give you a tool to help you heal, or an idea to help you heal. The idea would be the tool in this case. Trust yourself. Our bodies have an innate wisdom that will tell us what is true in any given moment, but we are conditioned to override that and reside in the brain, which, funnily enough, is the organ, the energy body that cannot reach the most spiritual places. We cannot think our way to enlightenment. We have to experience it. The Gnostics used to say something like, experience is better than belief, because it is. Our mind will lock us out of these spiritual places because we can't cognize them with the mind. We can't make them make sense. We cannot put words to them. They are felt. They are lived. They are an experience and a state of being that you cannot think. So trust yourself. Trust what has arose for you during this conversation. And if you've gotten this far and you're not sure because you've been trying to cognize, you can go back and re-watch it. But ask your body and hold the intention that you are going to get the healing from this, and that your body guides you to the healing, and then follow that. If something I say hits your heart, breathe there. Deep in there, take a breath, and as you're breathing, you hold, collect energy in the space, and then drop on the exhale. And hold and collect on the inhale, drop on the exhale. That's hard. It's really that fucking simple. The hard part is the mind, is making our mind believe that this is actually going to work, and it does. It does work. So if your mind starts to interrupt, just allow the thought to pass without shaming or getting angry at yourself. Just allow it to be and to pass, and then continue. And really all you need to do is feel. But if something arises, not a thought, it can manifest as a thought, but it won't be, you will be able to tell the difference in whether your ego mind is thinking it or it is a thought that has arose, right? Don't let your mind get in the way. Trust your body. Trust where this experience will take you if you do that, if you choose to. I am just here to record the videos. I can tell you my experience, give you my point of view, but I cannot make you take the steps. And the steps are the only way that you're ever going to get there. So, yeah, that's it. I hope you have a lovely, wonderful day. And if you do decide to go back and watch this from a bodily place and something arises for you to see and you feel like sharing, please share, because I love to hear. I love hearing stories, all kinds of stories from all kinds of different people. I think it is the spice of life to get to intimately know another human being. And no, intimacy doesn't mean sexual. Intimacy is connection. So, I'm gonna go.